In a lot of ways, FIFA is the exact same game every single year. As it is a football simulator, there's only so much that can change. But once we look back at the number of Ultimate Teams that we've had over the years, there's quite a few different gameplay features that were added to Ultimate Team but then later removed. And this is exactly what we will be exploring in today's video. But before we do get into the video, if you're looking to get some very easy coins, then there is no better place than Mule Factory. Head over there to get yourself some cheap, fast FIFA 22 coins, completely reliable, and if you use Fnatic5 at checkout, you'll also get yourself a 5% discount. Link can be found in the description down below. Getting back into the video. For this video, we're not going to be talking about gameplay itself, because that does pretty much change every single year. We get new skill moves, new passing mechanics, and new technology back in behind the actual gameplay. So if we went through a list of all the different gameplay mechanics that change from one button to another, this video would be incredibly long. So we're just sticking to the stuff that happened within the menus, and also we're looking at the best stuff, the best gameplay features that in some cases change the game quite dramatically, and for some of these features, players would love to see them back. So the first one that we have on our list is looking back at fitness cards. This one is actually a fairly new one. Fitness cards were part of the game from the very beginning, but only were recently taken out. They were last in FIFA 20 and was completely removed in FIFA 21, so it has only been 2 years. For this one, it was actually a good change. It was good that EA removed fitness cards because it brought in more opportunity. Before this, you would need to worry about players' fitness. It would be a max of 99, but every single game that you would play, it would slowly go down, and it would vary on how much you use that player within that game. So typically with midfielders, they would lose on average anywhere between 5 to around about 9 fitness every single game, as they're most likely going to be the most active, whereas a goalkeeper may lose only 1 or 2 fitness. It isn't too much of a problem if you were just to play 1 or 2 games, but if you kept on using the exact same team over and over again, their fitness would not replenish. For every game that you played in a row whilst using that player, it would continuously keep going down. Once you got to less than 70 fitness, you really saw some drastic changes in how they would perform in game. Let's start in every game with a 30% decrease in what they're actually able to do fitness wise, and by the time you got to halftime, they were pretty much dead. This meant that you had to have one of 2 different playstyles. The first way is that you would need to create a second team on your bench. This would be known as your fitness team, so that you would be able to play with your main team 2 to 3 games in a row, and then once you did get to round about 70 fitness, you would actually switch over to your fitness team, play a game with them, and whilst you're playing with them, all the players that you have were on your bench and also in your reserves would be able to regain that fitness that they lost, taking them all the way back up to 99. The second way is that you would need to stack up on loads of different fitness cards, this either being squad fitnesses or individual fitness cards which you can apply to players. They weren't too expensive. The individual fitness cards would be 150 coins, maybe 200 coins on a buy now, but if you was looking at squad fitnesses, they could vary between 1,000 all the way up to 2,500 depending which FIFA you were playing on. As fitness cards is a fairly recent thing that was removed from the game, it's not too crazy. So let's move on to the second thing on our list. This is the change for formation cards. These were formation modifiers. These were available from when FIFA Ultimate Team first started back in 09 and went all the way through to FIFA 13, but was taken out in FIFA 14. This one was a bit of a weird one. It was definitely normal back in FIFA 13 and before, but when looking back, you just have to wonder why EA thought that this was a good idea. It actually made things incredibly irritating if you wanted to make any type of change. But first, let's actually explain what they are. Back in the old FIFAs, it was laid out fairly similar to what we currently have today. The goal is to build your ultimate team. And for you to build your ultimate team, of course, chemistry is a thing. For you to get maximum chemistry, you would need to have players within the right positions, exactly the same as what we have today. But back then, you also needed to make sure that they were familiar with the formation that they're playing in. So we had formation cards. Each player had a formation which they preferred to play in. So if you had a striker Rooney who was listed as a 4-1-2-1-2, he would get maximum chemistry if you played him in the right position and played him within a 4-1-2-1-2 formation. If you went to change to a 4-3-3 formation, you can do so. You do it exactly the same as what you do right now within your squads. But if you did play Rooney there, as a striker, he's going to be doing pretty well. He's in the correct position, but it does now mean that he's not familiar with that formation because he has a 4-1-2-1-2 formation modifier on him. So for you to get Rooney at maximum chemistry, as well as with every other player within your team, you would need to apply a formation modifier, a 4-3-3 formation modifier, so that that player, in this case Rooney, is happy and familiar to play within that formation. It made things a hassle whenever you did want to change just your formation. We're not even talking about changing your team entirely and buying something completely new. Just being able to change from one formation to another, you would need to buy formation modifiers and apply it to every single one of those players. And this could really add up. For a lot of formations, they were undesirable, but just like what we have with consumables nowadays, there are some which are a lot more desirable. There's a lot more attention around them, so it makes them more expensive, going anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 coins each. It was the exact same back then. The 4-1-2-1-2 was the most popular formation, so it was the most expensive. And you also need to remember that this was before price ranges was a thing, as price ranges were implemented within FIFA 15 or FIFA 16. I think it was FIFA 15. So there was no limit of how expensive these formation modifiers could actually be. It all depended on the supply and the demand on the day. This didn't just apply to the players, it also applied to the managers. Moving on, the next feature on my list is, of course, trade offers. Trade offers is always brought up whenever anyone is talking about FIFA history. For those that don't know, the transfer market wasn't just about buying and selling players with coins. At the beginning, you was also able to submit trade offers. If you came across a player which you was interested in, but unfortunately their listed price was way too expensive for how many coins you currently had within your club, but you did have quite a few good players within your club, you could send a trade offer. You do this by selecting the players you want to send over, and if the other person sees that trade offer and wants to make a swap, they can accept it or they can reject it. If they accept it, it is just a straight swap. They'll get the players that you listed on the trade offer, and you'll get the player that was initially listed on the transfer market. This was a great feature to have, but unfortunately it was taken out. And I don't think this will ever be a feature that we will see again. In the early days of FIFA, this was perfectly fine. Players used it as normal, but as FIFA became a bit more popular and you had coin selling sites, there was people that did use this to transfer players, transfer coins for real money, which is against the terms of service. I do believe EA could sort something out with there being trade offers being added back into Ultimate Team, but instead of you getting that player permanently, you get a loan player for a certain amount of time, and it can only be done between friends for you to trial and test out different types of players that your friends have. I think it can be done, but whether or not EA is ever going to implement something like this, I really don't know. In fact, I doubt it's ever going to happen. And the last feature that we're going to be looking at within this video is going all the way back to the beginning, FIFA 09. And for a lot of people, they're not going to know this ever existed. This is known as the collection. The collection is pretty much a sticker book in game. Every league and every team was listed. The idea is that you would buy players or pack players, and instead of sticking them into your main team to use, you would submit them to the collection. And by doing so, you would get a very small coin reward. Very similar to if you was to discard a player today, you would be able to get a coin reward out of it. Of course, it's nothing compared to what you can sell that player on the transfer market for, but it did bring on another layer because you would be able to see that player as part of your collection forever. And if you did discard enough players to complete a full team, you would get an additional coin reward at the end. This wasn't just for players, you would have to do this for the players, the managers, the kits, the badges, the balls, pretty much everything that's there within Ultimate Team. As long as they are fitting with a certain team or a certain league, you would need to discard them to actually put them within the collection. And this was such a cool concept to have right at the beginning, and I honestly don't know why they removed it for the following FIFAs. I do think it's a bit crazy that you would have to discard some of the craziest players within the game that would be selling for thousands, even hundreds of thousands of coins, only for you to get 40 to 50 coins at the time, because that's what the discard value was. But with a few iterations, this would have been amazing. Nowadays, we don't really need it because squad builder challenges is something similar. It's not the collection in that you're always able to see it as a sticker book, but it is something where you do have requirements, you do need to submit players, those players are taken away from your club, and then you are rewarded at the end. It's a very similar premise with a slight twist. So we definitely don't need the collection now, but it would have been nice to have back in FIFA 10, FIFA 11, FIFA 12, going all the way up to when SBCs were actually added to the game. But anyway guys, here are just some of the old mechanics within FIFA Ultimate Team. Let me know in the comment section down below, did you know about all of these? Were you playing FIFA back when the collection was part of the game? And would you like to see any of them back within future FIFAs? Let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.